Gareth Bale started at Southampton, demolished an all-timer Inter Milan player at the San Siro, broke a record transfer to Real Madrid, became part of one of the best front threes in football history, and then eventually realised he loved golfing more than anything. The Welsh winger, who supposedly preferred golf more than football itself, finished his career as one of the most decorated players of all time. His story has humble origins, followed by a sensational night in Italy, a dream move to Spain, and then many years on the top of world football, concluding with an amusing end to his career. But jokes aside, he is arguably the greatest player to ever come out of Great Britain. George Best, Bobby Charlton and Bobby Moore might have a stake in this claim, but in terms of the modern era, even the likes of Wayne Rooney and Harry Kane probably fall short in terms of individual and collective achievements. Now, this doesn't have a straightforward answer, so we would love to hear any other shouts below for British players perhaps better than Bale. A quick look back into Bale's career makes it seem like he was born to be a footballer, but never truly wanted to be one. He was victim of being born with abilities that forced a career choice in his early days. Who knows how great Gareth the golfer could have potentially become? A 35-year-old Bale is trying to find that out ever since he retired in 2023. The left-back turned right-winger has some of the greatest performance highlights on the big stage. Bale has always been a supernova of a football player with the ability to shine on a grand platform. A Champions League bicycle and Copa del Rey final goal instantly comes to mind, but there are so many others. So how did the short-haired Southampton Academy graduate end up at the Santiago Bernabeu with his unique ponytail? This is the every boy's dream tale of Gareth Frank Bale. When Bale started his professional career, he was initially widely recognised for his brilliant technique to convert free kicks into goals. At the age of 16, Bale made his professional debut for Southampton at left back. Only Theo Walcott had made his debut for the Saints at a younger age. His second match was the Championship season's opener in August 2006 against Derby. The Derby supporters felt comfortable with a 1-0 lead at the 60th minute mark. Southampton then won a free kick, but the Derby fans were slightly amused when a 17-year-old left-back lined up to take it. But as Bale struck the dead ball, there was a hush around the stadium before an eruption of joy from the away end as the ball swerved over the goalkeeper's grasp and into the back of the net. Barely 3 days later, he recreated this and scored from another free kick. He had already made his debut for the Welsh national team at the age of 16, becoming the youngest ever player to debut for Wales. In October 2006, he broke the record for the youngest goal scorer for his country as well. You might have guessed it, it was also a free kick. George Burley, the Southampton manager back then, praised him for having qualities that even top players around him lacked. He compared his dead ball striking ability to that of David Beckham's. What's even more interesting is how in the early stages of his career, Bale had a very defined technique for free kicks, which would swerve from left to right and prioritize placement over power like Messi. But over the next decade, which included playing with Ronaldo for many years, his free kick technique completely switched up. In the 2016 Euros, Bale scored free kicks like rockets, possibly influenced by Ronaldo's technique or just a professional choice he made, which helped his nation reach the semi-finals. A goal and assist from Ronaldo would knock Bale's team out in the penultimate game of the tournament. Bale later said in an interview that he just found his old free kick taking technique boring and thought it was time for a change. After just one season in the Championship, Bale was picked up by Tottenham in the summer of 2007. He was well known by then as an up-and-coming talent across the country, if not the world. Manchester United had reportedly lost out to Spurs for his signature. The next few years in his career can be summarised in one sentence. He went from London to Madrid and conquered Milan on the way. Now, Tottenham fans might have fond memories of Bale's incredible stint for them, but the rest of the world mostly remembers that iconic hat-trick from left-back under Champions League floodlights in Italy. The start to his Spurs career was troubled and came with an unusual record which even made Spurs manager Harry Redknapp think twice before selecting him. Bale had failed to win a Premier League game for over 2 years, which consisted of playing in 24 matches. He had been riddled with injuries, and the loss against Liverpool in the final league game of the 2008-09 Premier League season made it 24 games without a win. Imagine the manager not selecting you because he thinks you're cursed. Unlike many youngsters today who make a fuss out of being left out of the team for even one game, Bale waited patiently for his chance. Redknapp was reluctant to use him, worried that more losses would mean more pressure on the young player's shoulders. In September 2009, Spurs were up 5-0 against Burnley when Redknapp introduced Bale from the bench in the 85th minute. The final whistle was met with cheers from the Spurs fans as the jinx was finally broken. He made a name for himself across the world for his lightning-fast pace and the ability to strike the ball hard and accurately from almost any angle. In 2010, the Champions League tie against Inter in the group stage was expected to be the hardest fixture for Tottenham. Inter hadn't lost a match at home in 50 games. That night wrote itself into Champions League history and the hearts of every Spurs fan, even though it ended in a loss. Spurs were not only down by 4 goals, but they were also down to 10 men by the halftime break, as this ruthless Inter side had shown no mercy in the opening 45. But barely 5 minutes into the second half, Bale picked up the ball from the halfway line and made a run towards the goal, impatient for any support. He dribbled past Maicon and Zanetti before slotting a well-struck shot past Julio Cesar. 5 minutes away from 90, it was like watching a replay, as Bale scored from the almost same spot with the same technique, and the ball went straight past Julio Cesar once again. Before the commentator could catch his breath from praising the youngster for his 3 lungs and superb ball striking, the ball was in the back of the net again, and a 10-man Tottenham had crept up to a 4-3 result from 4-0 down, courtesy of an electric Bale. Maicon at the time was widely considered as one of the best right-backs in world football. He was left humbled by the Welshman that day. A supernova was born under the bright floodlights of the San Siro, and barely 2 weeks later, Bale would repeat an incredible performance at the White Hart Lane when Inter came to visit. He ran down the wing and made Maicon seem like an inexperienced novice after dribbling past him many times and putting in pinpoint crosses for his teammates to convert. 2 of the many crosses were converted into goals, and Spurs won 3-1 and finished on top of the Champions League group. These performances didn't go unnoticed, and he was a hot prospect for clubs around Europe. But Bale wasn't finished conquering England, as he won the PFA Players Player of the Year award in 2011. The 2012-13 season was his best in the league, as he won the award again along with the Young Player of the Year award and the Football Writers Association Player of the Year award too. Real Madrid then broke the bank to sign him, and Daniel Levy was happy to oblige. In 2013, Gareth Bale became the most expensive signing in football history. He didn't waste any time in justifying the price tag. The move seemed to have upped his confidence in himself as well. He started taking more responsibility in fixtures for Wales and produced quality performances for his team. In his very first season, he wrote his name into Real Madrid lore in April 2014 in the Copa del Rey final against Barcelona. The El Clasico fixtures were at the twilight of their popularity, and Bale had gained a reputation for embarrassing his opponents without deliberately wanting to. The unfortunate victim this time was Marc Bartra, as the score was tied at 1-1 with 5 minutes remaining on the clock before penalties. Bale received the ball at the halfway line and took a heavy touch down the wing. Marc Bartra didn't want to take any chances and tried to push him off the pitch, even at the expense of conceding a foul. For a second, it looked like he had succeeded, and Bale was thrown off his path and went outside the sideline while Marc Bartra closed in on the ball. But the winger put on his afterburners and outpaced the Barca defender to take the ball and ran towards the goal before slotting it past Pinto to win the trophy. He had won his first trophy at Real Madrid thanks to himself in a way. A month later, he scored against Galactico Madrid to win his first Champions League title as well. The Real Madrid faithful loved him and would go on to enjoy the trio of Bale, Benzema and Cristiano for many seasons to come. Bale would win a whopping 5 Champions League titles and 3 La Ligas in Spain, but the latter years at Madrid turned very turbulent for him. Real Madrid had gained the reputation of being capable of forgetting their legends at the slightest of inconveniences sometimes. Maybe that's the winning formula, extremely high standards. But Bale found himself in the crosshairs of the Madridistas as soon as Lady Luck disappeared. Injuries and regular bench appearances made him rather unhappy. but the hostile Spanish media and Madrid fans made it unbearable for him to be able to get back to previous heights. Even through the constant hatred though, Bale managed to appear on occasions like a supernova does and show just how spectacular he could be. The bicycle goal against Liverpool off the bench in the Champions League final was one such instance. He was very open about it in the media that he wanted a move away from his club and only looked in the element when playing for Wales. He was very enthusiastic about taking his country to great heights in the Euros and even the World Cup, especially as a senior player. But the relationship with Madrid fans was broken beyond repair. But one set of fans still held him in the highest of regards. A sensational loan move to Tottenham in 2020 was a joyful period for Spurs fans who witnessed the link-up of Kane, Son and Bale together. In just 20 league appearances, Bale, who hadn't played football regularly in years, managed to rack up 11 goals and 2 assists. He finally departed Real Madrid in 2022 for the MLS and played for LAFC for half a year before retiring in January 2023. But before leaving Real Madrid, he had one last dig at the fans for constantly facing hatred even after being a legend for them. He held up a flag after playing for Wales that read Wales, Golf, Madrid in that order. This justifiably made the Madrid fans even madder, but Bale couldn't care less. By this stage of his career, he was regularly spotted at golf courses improving his stroke and enjoying his $650,000 a week salary from another sport. But it was later revealed that this wasn't just any hobby, as he loved golf more than anything. He has set up his mind on potentially becoming a pro golfer now, as he even made his PGA Tour debut recently. Bale even admitted that golf helped him throughout his football career also, as a reprieve away from the constant pressure that a high-performing athlete feels. He recalls going to a golf course during his Spurs and Madrid days as a way of taking some stress off. So do you think Real Madrid fans treated Bale harshly after all he did for the club, or was it justified? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.